ICE agents going to move into American airports starting tomorrow, Monday?
Yes.
All right, you might want to put on your tinfoil hats for this one.
We living in a new world order, a global takeover. Now let me show ya the reasons why you gotta look over your shoulder. A time when hearts are filled with disorder. We living in a new world order, a global takeover. Better take cover or fight back against the system. The choice is yours, be the resistance.
Over the weekend, Donald Trump took to his Truth Social to threaten what he called the radical left Democrats, saying that if they didn't immediately sign an agreement to let our country, in particular our airports, be free and safe again, that he would, quote, move our brilliant and patriotic ICE agents to the airports where they would do security like no one has ever seen before, including the immediate arrest of all illegal immigrants who came into our country, with heavy emphasis on those from Somalia. The following day, he expedited this threat by saying that on Monday, ICE will be going to airports to help our wonderful TSA agents, emphasizing that they would do a fantastic job. This urgent and sudden decision was then confirmed in a cryptic fashion during an interview with CNN later that day with border czar Tom Homan, whom Trump appointed to spearhead the operation.
Now, in a subsequent post, he said that he instructed ICE agents to be ready by Monday, and now the president is saying that you, sir, are going to be in charge. How is that going to work? Are ICE agents going to move into American airports starting tomorrow, Monday?
Yes. And I'm currently working on the plan now of execution, working with the director of ICE and the administrator at TSA, the acting administrator. So we'll put together a plan today and we'll execute tomorrow.
Are ICE agents even remotely trained to handle security at airports?
ICE agents receive a high level of training. And, you know, the ICE agents are assigned at many airports across the country already.
Perhaps ahead of schedule, less than an hour before midnight on Monday morning, it was reported that a tragic accident had occurred involving an aircraft at the LaGuardia Airport in New York.
A deadly collision at New York's LaGuardia Airport, and the airport is now closed. An Air Canada jet hit a fire truck on the runway. Now, this happened just before midnight. 2 pilots were killed. Dozens of other people are injured.
We now know that the vehicle collided with the airplane. There were 72 passengers aboard that aircraft, 4 crew members, and sadly, the pilot and the co-pilot were killed as a result of that collision. Now, dozens of passengers were also injured. 41 passengers and crew were transported to the hospital shortly after that collision. 31 of them have been released, and the 2 people who were inside the fire truck, which collided with the airplane, we are told are in stable condition. And I just have to say, the fact that the airport has to remain closed at least until the late afternoon, 2 o'clock today, is certain to cause a lot of delays, a lot of transportation issues here for passengers, which of course comes as we are seeing all these other problems, delays and long lines as a result of the partial government shutdown. So it's going to be a busy and likely a troublesome morning.
We understand that a United flight that was taking off earlier and aborted to take off because of fumes in the cabin had called for services. And so this fire truck, probably other responder services as well, was responding to that earlier call. And so air traffic control does dispatch those emergency response vehicles.
There was an emergency. They were actually responding to a call from a United flight that said that they were having some issues and they requested emergency vehicles. And so that is why this crash truck, fire truck, it's really known as a crash truck, was on its way and headed towards the runway. And based on what we can hear ourselves on air traffic control, they were clear. They were cleared to proceed. And it seems that everything was okay and that they were following normal procedure. And then something went terribly, terribly wrong, and we have this collision.
Following the initial media reports, the audio from ground control was released, which is currently being analyzed as part of the investigation. It is claimed that both vehicles were cleared, and the crash truck was responding to another incident in another plane when it was struck by the incoming Air Canada flight. Multiple emergencies happening at the exact same time at an airport is not that common. So this just adds to the coincidences linking all these things together.
Truck 1 and company crossing 4 at Delta.
Frontier 4195 to stop there, please. Stop, truck 1, stop. Stop, truck 1, stop. Stop, truck 1, stop. Go 2603, go around, runway heading 2000. Jet 646. Jet 646, I see you collide with a vehicle here, just hold position. I know you can't move. The vehicles are responding to you now.
Is the runway closed?
Del 2603, go around, runway heading 2000.
Heading 2000, go around, Del 2603.
The air traffic controller heard telling a Frontier pilot who witnessed the collision that he messed up.
We were dealing with an emergency earlier. I messed up. No, man, you did the best you could.
Runway 422 is closed at this time.
90, roger.
LaGuardia Tower, vehicle 98.
98. Vehicle 98.
Vehicle 98, please show at this time. Runway 422 is closed. I repeat, runway 422 is closed at this time.
Tower, car 90, LaGuardia Airport is closed at this time.
When I first saw a picture of the wreckage, I thought that a bomb had exploded at the front of the plane, as the visual damage to the cockpit and the missing wing resembles what you might expect to find in such a situation. It is truly a miracle that the two individuals in the vehicle are still alive, let alone in stable condition.
As you look at the images of the airplane, you can see the front of the airplane is completely destroyed.
I mean, the nose of this plane is completely in pieces. It would be very hard for someone who was sitting in those seats to survive. And sadly, of course, we learned that the pilot and co-pilot were killed, but also the crash truck. I mean, these are heavy pieces of equipment. The crash truck is completely either upside down or on its side, just showing us the impact here, the sheer force of this impact.
How is that going to work? Are ICE agents going to move into American airports starting tomorrow, Monday?
Yes.
Investigators we anticipate to be on site around 6 this morning, and then we will follow their lead on what their investigation requires, and they will have the time they need to make that determination.
I'm currently working on the plan now of execution, working with the director of ICE and the administrator of TSA, the acting administrator. So we'll put together a plan today and we'll execute tomorrow.
Okay, so there are a lot of questions here. First of all, are ICE agents even remotely trained to handle security at airports?
ICE agents receive high level of training. And, you know, the ICE agents are assigned at many airports across the country already.
Perhaps the strongest coincidence of this whole conspiracy theory. The Air Canada Express flight had arrived in New York from Montreal, where just a couple of days prior to the incident, the Trudeau Airport was also closed due to an emergency situation. The Montreal incident was initially described as a bomb threat, but it was later revealed that it was a case involving fraud after 2 suspects were arrested and later released.
Around 3 p.m., the U.S. Federal Aviation Administration reported that flights to Trudeau Airport were grounded due to a bomb threat. There was no bomb, though. Airport authorities clarified that not all flights were grounded, but that one runway was shut down. Here's why. The airport says a suspicious suitcase in an incoming flight prompted security protocols. And authorities had concerns about a man on that. And one other flight also headed towards Montreal. One man was in his 20s, the other in his 30s, according to police. And the situation escalated.
I can tell you that NORAD jets were scrambled, and the matter's under active investigation.
The news about this event went largely underreported, and the details given were suspicious and don't seem to add up.
NORAD said jets like CF-18, F-16, and the KC-135 were involved. Now, those 2 passenger jets did land safely at Trudeau Airport, and Quebec's provincial police arrested the 2 men and questioned them. They've since been released.
It's now a question of law enforcement, RCMP and CVSA, for example, to examine what took place. I have nothing else to add.
Yeah, I think this is an unusual circumstance. Of course, Montreal doesn't really see fighter jets, company airplanes, but it's a sign of the times. The world is a nervous place. Flying is a place where the authorities really have a heightened degree of awareness of the use of commercial aircraft and the potential misuse of commercial aircraft.
Airport operation resumed within a couple of hours, although it did cause major delays on some incoming flights on Wednesday.
We'll probably see more of this, so people should not be afraid when they see these. These are risk management practices that the industry and the military have trained for.
Yes, and I'm currently working on the plan now of execution.
It's not as if these guys don't know what they're doing and you may risk an incident. There's a protocol to follow, and there's practices that have been well trained and well indoctrinated into everybody in this process. So
when we deploy tomorrow, we'll have a well thought out plan to execute.
With respect, if you're doing this in 24 hours, how well thought out could it possibly be?
Again, ICE has been at airports across the country for a long time. It's just expanding those things. Look, how much of a plan does it mean to guard an exit to make sure no one comes through that exit?
Am I the only one that doesn't believe in coincidences?
We living in a new world order, a global takeover. Now let me show ya the reasons why you gotta look over your shoulder. A time when hearts are filled with disorder. We living in a new world order, a global takeover. Better take cover or fight back against the system. The choice is yours, be the resistance.